We are back with Alan from Mental Misplay. You loved the videos so much last time. It was one of the first time we did the archetypes videos. So you're back to do another archetype video. How did you like the first time? Did you learn a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh from the first time we did this?
Yeah, I had a blast doing the first one. That was a real treat, and it's cool to kind of explore another game. I only have so much bandwidth in my head for games, and Magic takes up so much of it, and Yu-Gi-Oh is something I've always seen around the fringes of what I do, and so getting to see just how, it's hard to find the word, but just how tight and concise they make the archetypes was really, really interesting. Just after reading 2 cards in a row, I was like, I see that these cards all work together.
Right, exactly. Magic does have that to a certain extent with different kindred decks and things like that. They're kind of supposed to work together, but it's not as tightly as decks are supposed to work in Yu-Gi-Oh. And you can really tell how the chain of like the reaction chain is supposed to happen in a deck like Yu-Gi-Oh. So you're going to see 3 different decks today, 5 different cards from each deck. You get a bonus card for one of the archetypes because I feel like I need to throw it in for you. But you're getting 3, and a little bit of a wrinkle in today's video is all 3 decks are going to be good. Okay, and instead of last time that there was one really good one kind of medium one, and then one bad one for you to evaluate, this time all 3 are going to be good, and you're going to tell me which one is the best one, because the best one has the most cards banned from it.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to tell me which one is like really, really good.
Which one's cracked?
Yeah, which one's cracked. Yes.
All right,
This one's, I'll call this cracked or crumbled. No, I don't know. Maybe I'll call it that, or maybe I won't. Anyway,
we'll workshop it. We'll workshop it in post
for sure. Yeah, we'll workshop it. Okay, and also a lot of these decks that I'm doing, in fact, all 3 of these decks were from the comments. So if you do want to see a deck featured on the show, or even just a card featured on the show, make sure to leave a comment down below, and I will use them. So these are all recent comments that I've gotten of decks that I please do this deck in the video, and these are going to be these decks. So let's start out with the first deck.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing in the comments for the first one, "Ooh, do this archetype next, do this deck next." So that's awesome that that's something that you're carrying the standard for. I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Yep. All right, let's just get you right started and on to the first archetype.
Vanquish Soul Raisin. Rarran. Warrior effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a non-warrior Vanquish Soul monster from your deck to your hand. Quick effect. You can activate these effects by revealing monsters in your hand with the listed attributes. Fire. This card cannot be destroyed by effects. This is by card effects. Fire and Dark. Destroy other monster cards. You can only use each effect Vanquish Soul Raisin once per turn and cannot be activated more than... What is that? More than something the same chain?
More than one time in the same chain. So like gotcha. You can't stack them on top of each other, both effects.
Okay. All right. So it's tutoring cards, and it's kind of indestructible, I guess. This card cannot be destroyed by fire effects. Sure. Okay.
Right. Like if you like reveal a corresponding card with a certain attribute in your hand, then you get the following effect, depending on which one you do.
Gotcha.
So this is kind of like the tutor, and this has a couple other effects that are useful sometimes stapled onto it. Let's go ahead and look at the next card that this deck plays. And I'm not sure if you saw this type of card, so if you haven't, let me know if you saw this type of card last time. The blue card.
I don't think I did.
Okay.
What is the blue card?
This is a link monster. It goes in your extra deck, like the 15-card companion zone off to the side. So you can access this at any time you can fulfill the requirements. The first line of the text there says 1 Vanquish Soul monster, so all you have to do is put a Vanquish Soul monster from your field into the graveyard, like sacrifice it basically, and put this into play from your extra deck as a special summon.
Okay, and this is a special summon 1 Vanquish Soul monster from your hand, so your opponent's monsters can only target monsters you control with higher attack. If it attacks during main phase, you can activate one of the effects. Special summon, you can get a monster in your hand. Add Vanquish Soul monster from your graveyard to your hand. Only use this effect once per turn. Okay, so this is letting you... there's a lot going on here.
Oh, yeah.
It's letting you tutor things and also recur things. And this can be accessed at almost any time.
Right.
Is this like a enchantment, kind of?
No, this is a creature, but it's like a companion.
Creature. Oh, okay, but it's got attack 0, so it's not a very functional creature for dealing damage. It's a creature that's functioned because of its abilities.
Right. It's kind of like Lutri, if you could play that in Commander, like you would only play it because of its ability. Like a 3/2 is not that good, but the fact that it can copy stuff is pretty good. So you'd play it for its ability. Just like Yorion, right? Yorion, you would add it to your hand and play it as a companion because of its ability. Like, you wouldn't really want to cast a 5-mana 4/5 flyer in a 60-card format, or even Commander for that matter. But you would love a Yorion if you could access it any time, right? And that's why companions are so good. The reason why the extra deck cards in Yu-Gi-Oh are so good is because you can access them basically any time, because you're going to build your deck in a way that can access them whenever you want to. So because it only requires one Vanquish Soul monster, you can normal summon Raisin, search a monster, right? And then you can just put the Raisin in the graveyard to summon the Rock of the Vanquisher out of your extra deck. And then you have the option to summon the rock, the monster you search out of your hand, or bring your Raisin back from your graveyard to your hand. Because it can like recur a creature, but it can also summon a creature from your hand.
That's wild. It does a lot of stuff.
It does do a lot. Because Raisin searches a creature, I haven't showed you a creature that Raisin can search yet. Let me just show you a creature that Raisin can search.
Vanquish Soul, Dr. Madlove. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Vanquish Soul spell trap from your deck to your hand, so it tutors again. You can activate one of these effects by revealing monsters in your hand with the listed attributes. So this is, again, you can reveal stuff to activate it. One face-up monster of your opponent loses 500. Return one monster with lowest defense on the field to the hand, your choice if tied. So you can return stuff to hand once per turn in the same, and no more than one in the same chunk. Okay. So this is Vanquish Soul, Dr. Madlove is one of the cards that this Rock of the Vanquisher gets.
Yeah, it's one of the it's one of the monsters that Raisin can search.
Okay.
Because the Rock of the Vanquisher can either summon one from your hand, or it can recur one.
Okay. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, that's why I'm helping you through it. The way that you can access this from the deck is Raisin when it says you can add one to your hand.
Okay, gotcha.
You can tutor one, basically. And this Madlove can tutor, as you can see here, tutor Vanquish Soul spells and traps.
Yep.
So it's like you can tutor and then summon the Rock, and then the Rock can summon this, and then you tutor again, basically.
Okay.
And that's why this deck is pretty good. So let's go ahead and let's give you a card that... This is going to be the bonus card, the 6th card of the archetype, but I wanted to give you a card that Vanquish Soul Dr. Madlove could search that is played in the deck.
Okay. Vanquish Soul Dust Devil. Target one Vanquish Soul monster you control. Change its battle position. Then you can change face-up monsters your opponents controls to face-down defense position. Up to the number of Vanquish Soul monsters you control with different names. Can only activate one Vanquish Soul Dust Devil per turn. So this is letting you dictate how change its battle position. So what is the battle position?
The battle position, like if your monster is in attack position, like this is an arena code card, but this is attack position, this is defense position.
Okay, gotcha.
If it's in defense position, it cannot attack.
And if it's face down, does that mean it can't defend?
If it is face down, it can still defend. Like your opponent has to attack through it to get to your life points. But it cannot be used for a link summon, so you can't like put it in the graveyard to summon a thing out of your extra deck. It cannot be used as an Exceed summon, and it cannot be used as a Synchro summon. Those are all ways to summon out of your companion zone. And if it's face down, you cannot summon those monsters out of your companion zone using that monster as a material.
So if you have a bunch of different monsters, you can shut down your opponent's board state by turning all of them face down defense position.
Exactly.
So this guy lets you not quite stacks and not quite control, but something along those lines, similar to like putting stun counters on everything.
Right. It's like
stun count.
But it's a little bit better than stun counters, because stun counters you can still like use their abilities. But you also don't get to use the monster's abilities if they're face down either. So that not only can you not use their abilities, but you can't summon out of your extra deck with them for the most part. You can with certain things like fusion monsters. You can fusion someone with face downs, but for what we're talking about right now, you can't like Synchro, Link, or Exceeds summon out of your extra deck with cards that are face down. So it kind of like turns those monsters off on your opponent's turn. It is a quick play spell. As you see, it says spell card has a lightning bolt there on the top right there.
Yep.
That means you can use it on your opponent's turn. So it's an interactive spell.
Sick. Oh, so you can do this like before they attack you. You can be like, nope, they're all defenders now.
Exactly.
Can't get me. And it turns off all their abilities. That's crazy at instant speed as wild.
Exactly. And Dr. Madlove can search this out of the deck, and then you can just set it and pass turn, and now you have an interactive card. Okay.
Nice.
Let's go ahead and go over to the next card. This is the 4th card in the archetype, and when I show you these next 2 monsters showing up, you'll really understand how the deck's supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the most important cards in the deck.
Heavy Borger. Okay, it's got a lot of stars up there at the top. That is, the stars represent its cost or its power level?
Kind of both.
Okay.
But it really doesn't matter as much in current Yu-Gi-Oh! What the level is.
And the dark, is its like up top next to Vanquish Soul Heavy Borger. Dark says that it's, what does that mean?
It's just the attribute of the card. It is relevant in this deck, especially since you have to reveal like dark monsters in your hand to use certain effects.
That's one of the ones that you would reveal. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, all good.
During the main phase, quick effect. So is that your main phase? Because it says the main phase.
Either person's main phase. If it says your main phase, it's your main phase. If it says the main phase, it's either player's main phase.
You can target one non-machine Vanquish Soul monster you control, return it to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. Okay. Interesting. Quick effect, you can activate one of these effects by revealing monsters in your hand with the listed attributes. Draw 1 card. Earth and Fire gets 1,500 damage to your opponent. Can you only use each effect of Vanquish Soulburger once per turn and cannot activate more than 1 in the same chain. So this guy is letting you deal... This is one of your payoffs. This is letting you deal a ton of damage either through a larger attack stat. He's got that 2,500, or you can just do direct damage to your opponents by revealing... It has to be an Earth and Fire type.
Right.
Any of them been that? No, none of them have been Earth and Fire types, but I assume that you put them in the deck. And the first part is you can target one... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Interrupt you. Raisin is a fire.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So would you have to reveal an Earth card and a Fire card, or if there's one that's both types? How does that work?
There's nothing in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's both attributes, more than one attribute, outside of like super niche cards like Light and Darkness Dragon. But... And I'll put that on the screen too. It's something that has more than one attribute, but that's very, very rare. So you'd have to reveal 2 monsters to use the...
Oh, I see up top. That's where they are. Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
You'd have to reveal 2 monsters, an Earth and a Fire, to be able to inflict damage, and then you can just reveal 1 monster basically to draw a card.
And the quick effect on this card, the first one during the main phase, that you can do from hand. So I would basically... return a card to hand and then play this thing for free?
Yep. That's why I said the level didn't matter as much, because you're just playing this for free in this deck.
Because it just comes out regardless. Yeah. And you've got all these Vanquish Soul like all of the things in the deck are Vanquish Soul cards. Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Now you ready for the big boss monster?
Yes.
All right.
I'm
let's
super
go.
excited for the big boss monster.
All right. This is the big bad.
Vanquish Soul Caesar Valus. Yeah, it looks pretty wild. So during the main phase, you can target one non-dragon Vanquish Soul monster you control, return it to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. So this guy's free. Again, activate one of these effects by revealing monsters with a list of attributes. Okay, he's got like this face-up card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects this turn, so it gives him like funky hexproof, and it destroys another card on the field by revealing 3 cards. Okay, so this guy is kind of I don't remember if I can curse or not, but this guy's hard to mess with.
You can.
This guy's unfuckwithable, it seems like.
Yes.
Is the you really like if you're in your full effect here, this guy seems really hard to deal with, and he's blowing up other cards if you've got your like full grip. So all right, this is a pretty cool cycle. This is a pretty cool archetype.
Right. So it really works off of like swapping your stuff back and forth. You can make the link monster, summon something, add something back from your grave that maybe your opponent killed before, like the raisin or whatever. Summon the raisin out of your hand and keep swapping them again, and keep like you swap, reveal, swap, reveal, swap, reveal.
Gotcha.
Kind of, you know.
And Yeah, and you reveal to do the effect, and
Exactly.
then swap to play the free card,
Exactly.
and then reveal to do the effect.
Exactly.
And that chain is, you can't basically chain more than what. How does chain work? Chain is off the same card, or is that taking just game actions on your
It, the,
turn? What
the
is?
the chain is the stack, but
Okay, gotcha.
what the only difference is, once a chain starts resolving, the whole chain resolves in its entirety. Unlike the stack, where you can add onto the stack in between, you can't do that in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool. This is a super crazy archetype. This is, I'm guessing it is Vanquish Soul is the
Vanquish Soul, yeah, this deck
name.
is super fun. So yeah, deck
Yeah, it
is very
seems like
very
there's a
very well.
lot. Like once it goes together, it seems like it would really just kind of, the ball just rolls. It
Exactly.
seems like what you'd want to get out of like a good landfall deck or whatever.
Yeah,
Just like
it's
the
like
thing
yeah,
happens, you do more stuff, it gets more value. You can
yep.
leave. One of them even said draw cards on it rather than just tutoring, so you can really do it whichever way you like.
Yeah, it's like you're playing a bunch of Omnaths, and like once you get the Risen Reef Omnath train going, like it's kind of impossible to stop, and you've already lost at that point. Yeah,
Nice.
it's like that a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and go on to the next archetype. But I do want to
All
ask about
right.
the Vanquish archetype. Do you like what's happening? Are you picking up what it's putting down?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I love that it's, and I totally forgot how, like, I mean, well designed these archetypes are. Like, they're so cyclical. Each card clearly cares about all the other cards, and it's like you can really see like a wheel of chain and effect going on with each card. You need this card, and this card gets this card, and this card uses the other two cards. Like, it's
Yep.
really a, it completes a circuit.
Right. And if you notice, the Vanquish Soul Caesar Valius is an Earth, so this you can reveal this and the Raisin for your Earth and Fire. You can reveal Fire and Borger for your Fire and Dark. You can reveal Borger and Valius for your Earth and Dark, and you can kind of use all of them to reveal for each other, kind of thing. But okay, let's go.
What's the limit on how many of each of these you can have in your deck?
Three of each card, unless they're banned.
3 of each. And the sideboard one, the Rock of
You
the
can have
Vanished
up to
Vanquisher.
three. You can have up to three cards in your extra deck as well, unless they're limited to one or two or whatever banned.
Gotcha, restricted and all that stuff. Okay.
But it is up to you after all these three archetypes to see which one is the actual broken one. They're all good
Which
decks.
one's banned? Yeah,
Which one has some like more cards banned? Okay.
This one seems pretty hard to deal with. There's a lot of
Yeah,
instant speed
it's
stuff
good.
going on. There's a lot of board control. Like, this is pretty scary.
All right.
So let's see the next one.
Well, you're gonna see two more scary decks. So. Okay. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one. I'll have you read this card.
Zodiac Ratpeer. Earth. Okay, Beast Warrior. If this card is normal summoned, you can send one Zodiac card from your deck to the graveyard. An XYZ monster whose original type is Beast Warrior and has this card as XYZ material gains this effect. Okay, interesting. Once per turn, you can detach one XYZ material from this card, special summon Zodiac Rapier from your hand or deck. Interesting. So the XYZ material is like, I can't remember if that was like equipments or if they like meld together and create a bigger thing. But
Exceeds are kind of like, how can I explain this? Exceeds are kind of like mutate.
Okay.
Where you put it on top, but the materials don't act. Unlike mutate, the materials don't add to the effect of the card on top.
Okay.
But the card on top, the Exceeds monster, comes out of your extra deck. It comes out of your companion zone.
Oh, okay.
So you just put it on top of the Zodiac Ratpeer.
Send one Zodiac card from your deck. Zodiac card from your deck to the graveyard.
And Zodiac has graveyard cards that can be utilized from the graveyard. As you go to the next cards, I will show you those. But this one it says if it's normal summoned, you dump one, you like entomb a Zodiac card, and then you can, if this is part of the Exceed material of an Exceed monster that you summon out of your extra deck, it gains the second effect to detach one material from the Zodiac from the extra deck monster to special summon a Ratpeer from your hand or deck, like another copy of Ratpeer.
Wild.
Okay, it's wild.
It's hard to see the scope of
It's
it.
hard.
It's so crazy.
But just like the last deck, you read the first card and you can't see the scope. But as you go further and further on, you can start seeing the scope of the deck. So let's go ahead and go to the second card.
Absolutely. All right, Zodiac Thoroughblade. Another Earth guy, Beast Warrior effect. So it's in the type is Beast Warrior. Okay, XYZ monster. So he's one of these. If this card is normal or special summon, you can discard one Zodiac card, and if you do draw a card, love it. Love filtering. And you said Ixies?
You can say XYZ or you can say XCs.
Xyz monster whose originally type is Beast Warrior has this card gains this effect. So that's a little confusing to me. That the other one said that as well. And XYZ whose original type is Beast Warrior and has this card as XYZ material gains this effect.
Right.
So the effect is discard a card, and if you do draw a card,
oh no, gains the following effect.
Yeah.
Gains the next effect.
Yeah. Okay. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Is that like trample?
It is trample.
Hey! I love it. We got there. Okay. And he's got 1600. And you said when you XYZ them together, they don't like add up though. Like it doesn't make it bigger, it just adds more effects.
It doesn't usually add more effects, but these cards specifically say that the next card would gain the effect.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, let's go to the next card and let's just show you an actual Exceeds monster that this is supposed to deal with because we need to talk about them.
Oh boy. Zodiac Road Bull. This guy looks awesome. I loving the horns and the ears, and he's got a sick axe. Great. 2 level 4 monsters. Okay.
So
question mark.
Let me just tell you how this is supposed to be looked at. It is a rank 4 Exceeds monster. So the 4 stars there on the left hand side of the card. This goes in your extra deck and in your companion zone.
Okay.
If you have 2 level 4 monsters in play, you can stack them on top of each other, like mutate them on top of each other, and then like mutate the Broad Bowl on top of the 2 cards.
Okay, so you need 2 of the other guys to even get
two level 4 monsters. But
both of the other guys you've shown me are level 4s.
And then if the Thoroughblade and the Rapier were both underneath this Zodiac Broad Bowl as Exceeds material, because that's what they're called when they're underneath the card. Okay, then you can use those other abilities too, like detach one to summon a Rapier from the deck, or the card gains trample basically. So Broad Bowl would have trample.
Okay,
so that's what would happen in a normal sense. Zodiac happens a little bit of a different way, and as you read Broad Bowl, you will figure that out. So you can go ahead and read Broad Bowl now.
Once per turn, you can also XYZ summon Zodiac Broad Bowl by using 1 Zodiac monster you control with a different name as XYZ material.
Right.
If you use
do you understand
monster,
that? Do you understand that sentence?
Once per turn, you can also summon him by using 1 XYZ monster you control with a different name as XYZ material. So if you put them together, if you have 2 other monsters and you put them together, then you can summon him, basically.
He only needs 1 Zodiac monster.
Okay.
1 Zodiac monster you control.
Okay.
Normally you would need to stack the cards on top of each other. But for the Zodiac archetype, you can like summon Rapier and then like entomb a Zodiac card from your deck, and then you don't need the other level 4. You can just summon this on top of it.
Okay.
Because you only need 1. This archetype, usually Exceeds monsters, these black rank cards, need more than 1 card to go on top of each other. This specific archetype doesn't need both. They can use only 1 if you want to.
But then it says this card gains attack and defense equal to the attack and defense of all Zodiac monsters attached to it as materials. So you are incentivized to use more than 1, but you don't have to.
Exactly.
And if you use an XYZ monster, any XYZ materials attached also become XYZ materials on this card. Okay, that's cool. So if you do use more than 1, they just stay attached to him.
Right.
And then once per turn, you can detach 1 from this card and add a Beast Warrior type that can be normal summoned from your deck to your hand. So it lets you tutor if you remove 1. Okay.
Correct.
That's pretty cool. And if you tutor one, can you then add it as material on him?
There is a
You can
there
like
is a
remove one to go
specific
get another guy.
there is a specific Zodiac card called Zodiac Whiptail that I won't be showing you today, but I'll show it over here. That you can at instant speed attach it to your Xyz monster that you control.
Okay.
And it gives the Xyz monster the ability to, whenever it attacks something, basically it can exile the card it's attacking.
Gotcha.
That's what the card does, but it can instant speed attach itself. But that's the only card that can do that. One of the only cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh that can do that. If there's another card that can do that you can think of, down in the description below, that like instant speed attach, let me know what that card is. But I think Zodiac Whiptail is like one of the only ones that you can do. But a common play pattern in this deck is like go summon Broad Bull, detach, search Whiptail to like have the ability to add the material on if you want to. But
gotcha.
You can search any Beast Warrior monster that can be normal summoned. There's a lot of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh that says it cannot be normal summoned, and then you couldn't search those, but you could search any Beast Warrior, tutor for any Beast Warrior that can be normal summoned, and that is all the card does. So let's go ahead and go to the next card. I know I'm like overloading your brain, but let's just go to the next one.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's awesome though. I love it. Zodiac Chakanine.
That's a good pronunciation. Yeah.
So 2 or more level 4 monsters. You need those in order to summon it. Is that how that works?
The normal way, but this archetype can summon using one.
Once per turn, you can also XYZ summon Zodiac Chakanine by using one Zodiac monster you control with a different name as the material. So it's similar to the other one. If you use it, it becomes okay. This card gains attack and defense of all Zodiac monsters attached to it as materials. All right. Once per turn, you can detach one, then target one Zodiac monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but for the rest of this turn, it has its effects negated and cannot be used. Okay, so you can detach one to get one out of the graveyard onto the field, but they can't be... It's just kind of like... It just gets summoned, but can't really be used that turn.
Right.
Is that...
But
correct?
You can Xyz summon more Zodiacs from your extra deck on top of the card that you summon. And then
gotcha.
And then the Xyz monster that you summon on top will gain the effect. Like if you go Zodiac Ratpier, for example, hypothetically, if you go normal summon Zodiac Ratpier, the first card we went over, and it entombs the Zodiac, right? And then you entomb like the Zodiac Thoroughblade, right? The one that can, when it ETBs, it can discard, draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
And then you summon a Broad Bull on top of it, right? On top of the Ratpier. You can detach the Ratpier from the Broad Bull to search for any Beast Warrior you want. And then, hypothetically, you can summon the Chakanine on top of the Broad Bull, because it only needs one, right? And then you can detach the Broad Bull, since Broad Bull's a material now. And then you can summon the Thoroughblade that you entombed with the Ratpier onto the battlefield, and then that will discard a card, draw a card, right?
Yeah.
And then you can summon another monster, another Zodiac Xyz monster on top of the Thoroughblade.
Okay. Wow. Super layered.
Yeah, and since Thoroughblade has 1600 attack, and all the Zodiac monsters gain attack based on the attack of the monster under it, you can summon something in a Zodiac monster in attack mode, and now that Zodiac monster will have 1600 attack, because Thoroughblade has 1600 attack, and it will also have trample.
Okay. All right, so it lets you play with what has what effect.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And say with Broad Bull, you search for a Zodiac Whiptail, right? It has 1200 attack, and you can instant speed attach it, and then let's say your new card has 1600 attack because you summoned it on top of the Thoroughblade. You can attack and then instant speed, put the Whiptail onto it, and now it adds the 1600 from Thoroughblade and the 1200 from Whiptail, and now you have 2800.
It's wild.
So yeah, and then it has piercing, and it exiles the card that you attack. So it's like it's a very toolboxy, but you can see how this is the one where you can like summon on top and then summon something from your graveyard. Okay, you have that down. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next card.
This is number 5.
This is the last card on the arc.
Zodiac Trident. Okay. Earth. 4 level 4 monsters. This is the big bad.
This is the big bad, yeah.
Once per turn, you can also summon Zodiac Trident by using one you control with different names. All right. This card gains attack and defense. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach, then target one face-up card on the field and destroy it. Okay, so this is our big monster that is also mowing down the other board.
Right.
Okay, and it says 4 level 4 monsters, but really you only need the one.
Yeah, just any Zodiac monster.
Okay, and it's doing the same thing. You can detach in order to blow up face-up cards.
Just one face-up card, yeah, on the field.
You can detach to bring stuff back. I see. Okay. So you're detaching stuff to bring stuff back, to fill up your yard, to get them onto the field, and then attaching them to use the abilities, and then detaching them to deal with the board state.
Right. And then you can do things like with Thoroughblade with the 1600, and then the Broadbull can search the Whiptail and attach the Whiptail from your hand to it to get like a 2800 attacker. So this deck can also attack for game fairly easily as well. But it really just it really just does a good job of gumming up the board with a bunch of Xyz monsters.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is it. Yeah, it fills up the board and probably fills up the game with game actions as well. Like it's the same type of thing. Like your turn you'll as you get all of these guys out there, you start to be able to just keep going with this cycle. Is my guess.
Right, and there's also a Zodiac that I'm not going to show you. There's a Zodiac Xyz that can detach one to like swap out a material from a card in your graveyard. So you can like detach one to put a card in your graveyard underneath. So like there's like a lot of Exceed material manipulation in this deck as well. So that's it for the Zodiac archetype. Let's go ahead and go to the last archetype, and that is going to be this one.
No Punk TheOneJame. You can pay 600 life points. Add how many life points do you start with? Is it 3,000?
8,000.
Add one Punk monster from your deck to your hand, except for this one. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Punk monster you control. It gains 600 attack. So okay, that's interesting. You can only use this once per turn. Okay, awesome. So this is turning your life into attack power. This is awesome.
Yep, and this is the search card. This is the tutor.
This is the tutor. Okay.
Yep. Add one Punk monster from your deck to your hand, except for no Punk TheOneJame.
Right.
All right. Now let's go ahead and go to the next card.
Dear Note. You can reveal other Punk monster from your hand, one other. Special summon either the revealed monster or this card, and send the other to the graveyard. Interesting. If this is sent from the field to your graveyard, you can target one in your graveyard except for a level 5. Special summon it, but you can't special summon this one for the rest of this turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. Okay, so you can reveal another card from your hand to special summon this.
Or the other card.
And then the one you revealed would go to the graveyard.
Yes.
Or if you special summon the one you revealed, this one goes to the graveyard.
Exactly.
And this one lets you recur Punk monsters in your graveyard that aren't level 5.
Right, if it's sent from the field to the graveyard.
You can target one Punk monster in your graveyard, but you can't special summon this one. Where does it... If this card is sent from the field to your graveyard, you can... Okay, I got it. So it replaces. You say this is like recursion. If you reveal one card, put it into play, this one goes to the graveyard, and another one comes out of the graveyard into play. So you do still get 2 cards. Okay, very cool.
And remember what I said about link monsters? The way to summon them out of your extra deck is to put a monster from the field to the graveyard.
Okay.
That would trigger this card.
Okay.
There's also another mechanic that we're going to learn with this deck called synchro summoning. If you don't remember it from the last episode, I'm not sure if you remember, but it's the same thing as link. The same thing as link summoning, but the levels matter, the stars matter.
Okay.
You have to add up the stars to summon a monster from your extra deck with stars equal to the amount of stars you put in the graveyard, and you have to have at least one tuner monster and one non-tuner monster in most cases. If you scroll up to No Punk TheOneJame that you just went over, the tutor, that is a tuner, psychic tuner effect.
I see it. Yep.
And then you see Dear Note is a non-tuner. It does not say tuner.
Yep.
So you would need at least one tuner and one non-tuner to synchro summon, and the levels have to equal each other. Dear Note is level 5, TheOneJame is level 3. So you would need to summon a level 8 synchro monster out of your extra deck. You put them both in the grave. Okay, so you could go normal summon TheOneJame, pay 600 life points, search for Dear Note, use Dear Note's effect, discard a card, another Punk card, summon the Dear Note out of your hand, right? And then now you have a level 5 and a level 3, one tuner, one non-tuner, and then you can put them in the graveyard to summon a level 8 synchro. And then since Dear Note went to the graveyard, it will trigger the effect to bring back the Xiamen that you just synchroned with.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So it's like kind of a chain of events here.
A chain of events that is more than the sum of its parts.
Exactly.
Is the crazy part.
Exactly.
A chain of events that ends you up with something bigger.
Exactly. So let's go ahead with that knowledge. Let's go ahead and go over to the next card, and this is a pretty good card in this archetype. It is this one.
No Punk Foxy Tune. Once per turn, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can gain life points equal to that monster's original attack. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can tribute one Punk monster, special summon this card from your hand. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Send one card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon it from your deck except a level 8 monster. Okay. So you can tribute one Punk monster, special summon card this card from your hand. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Send one card from your hand to the graveyard.
Right. So let's say you have the Xiamen and you don't have you remember Deer Note, how you have to have another Punk card in your hand to summon it out of your hand?
Okay. Yeah.
If you say you don't have another Punk card in your hand, you would go Xiamen, search for Foxy Tune instead of Deer Note, and then Foxy Tune can send any monster from your hand to the graveyard and itself to summon a Punk monster from your deck. So you would just summon the Deer Note from your deck, and then do the same thing, synchro for a level 8 synchro monster, and then the Deer Note would trigger to summon back either the Foxy Tune, because you put that in the graveyard, or the Xiamen.
Okay.
Since Foxy Tune and Xiamen are not level 5, and Deer Note cannot summon back level 5s.
Gotcha. This is convoluted for sure. There's a lot going on.
This is confusing for sure.
This is a very confusing archetype for me. But it's a lot of it is because I don't quite understand the mechanics, but it's very
right.
It seems like it's continually netting more than the sum of its parts, and you can keep doing it.
Yes, you can.
That makes it, the fact that there's no, I mean, can you keep doing it? Like, does it go infinite? Can you just like loop with it?
No, because you need cards in your hand to send to the graveyard.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then you can't use more, like you for a lot of these cards you can't like do it more than once per turn. Either you run out of cards,
or
you'll either run out of cards in hand, or the card just says you can only do it once.
Now, if you put one in the graveyard and then recur it back out, does it count as a separate instance of the card? Can you do the ability again or no?
It will count as a separate instance of the card, and you can do the ability again, but if you look at the last line of Xiamen where it says you can only use each effect of No Punk Xiamen once per turn, it counts all instances of the card for that turn. It's called a hard once per turn in Yu-Gi-Oh! There are cards that are soft once per turns in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where if it doesn't have that line on it and you can summon it again, you can use it again, but that is not the case for a card like Xiamen.
So because it says you can you can only use each effect of No Punk Xiamen once per turn.
If it says you can only use the effect once per turn of like the named Xiamen card, like you can literally only use it once per turn and under any circumstance.
Okay. Perpetually.
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 Oh god, alchemy cards in real life. Okay. So yeah, the Foxy Tune is going to be the card to discard another card and itself to summon another Punk from your deck. Probably Deer Note, or you can also summon a different card from your deck if you want to. If you don't have access to Xiamen in your opening hand, but you have a Foxy Tune, you can just use the Foxy Tune's effect to summon Xiamen from your deck instead of Deer Note, and then Xiamen can search the Deer Note instead, and then use the Deer Note effect to summon the Deer Note and make... There's a lot of ways to like make a level 8 synchro in this deck is what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
Okay. Speaking of level 8 synchros, let's give you the level 8 synchro that this deck plays sometimes.
Yes.
Mind you, for all the Yu-Gi-Oh players watching, I'm not showing the real big bad level 8 synchro that this deck played, because it's not relevant to the archetype. Just saying, this card's relevant to this archetype. But letting you know, Alan, there is another level 8 synchro that this deck would play that is very good.
It's just like a big, like a beater, like something that you want to summon in order to close a closer, basically.
It's But I'll just tell you what the card basically mills 5, and then you can summon it back out of your graveyard by banishing more cards in your graveyard. So it's another one of those cards where it's like, oh, it's better than the sum of its parts card. It's another one of those.
And by milling, it gives you more fuel for the recursion.
Exactly. So. But this is the actual Punk level 8 synchro that the deck wants you to play.
Okay, there's a lot going on here. This is
yes.
The art is crazy. Punk Jam Dragon Drive.
Say that 5 times fast.
I cannot. I literally could not say it once times fast. Okay, Psychic Tuner. All right, it's a tuner. 1 non-tuner monsters.
Oh, this isn't a tuner.
If this card,
it's saying it needs a tuner to summon it.
Gotcha. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Punk card or synchro summoned, you can pay 600 life points. Take 1 level 3 psychic monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or to the graveyard. Okay, so it's fueling either of your things you want to do. If your opponent activates a card or effect in response to your Punk card or effect activation while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Okay, so it has built-in, not protection against interaction, but it like rattlesnakes, it punishes interaction.
Right.
You can only use each effect of Punk Jam Dragon Drive once per turn. So it has the hard once per turn as well.
Correct.
Okay, so this is a big monster, clearly. And it lets you tutor and protect.
Yep.
That's cool.
And this is not the actual boss monster. This is just like another good card in the deck.
Another utility piece, another piece of the circuit.
Yes. The fact that your 2700 attack synchro monster gets to search a card or entomb a card, and then also gets to come back if your opponent interacts with you, pretty darn good. And it's not even like the big bad. And I'm going to show you the big bad here.
Awesome. Okay. Amazing Dragon. Yeah, clearly. We're on 10 stars here, it looks like. 11? 11 stars, okay. 3,000. So this is this a piece of the archetype, or is this the non-related big bad you mentioned?
No, this is a Punk card. Yugioh Punk.
Needs tuners and non-tuners. If this card is synchro summons, you can target cards in your opponent controls up to the number of level 1 psychic monsters with different names you control and in your graveyard. Return them to the hand. You can target 1 monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use these effects once per turn. You can only use 1 Amazing Dragon effect per turn and only once that turn. That stipulation is weird.
Right, it's a hard once per turn for either one. You can't use both in the same turn.
And okay, if you have a bunch of different level 1 psychic monsters, you can do a psych rift, basically. Zoop, get all your crap back in your hand. And you can target, or you can do a recursion.
Right.
If it's special, you can choose one or the other. If it's special summoned. And
it's not level 1, like you said. It's level 3.
Okay. Oh, yeah, all right. I see that.
Because, like, you're going to have level 3 psychics in this deck, because Punk Jam Dragon Drive, it works with level 3s, and also ZeOmin is level 3. Level 3 psychic.
Yep. All right. This thing, so it lets you...
And if you can see the sequence here, is you can have the ZeOmin, you can summon the Deer Note, either from itself or from Proxy Tune. You use the Deer Note and the ZeOmin, since they're level 5 and 3, that makes 8. Put them in the graveyard to summon the Jam Dragon Drive. Okay? Jam Dragon Drive will trigger because it's synchro summoned, but also Deer Note will trigger because it was sent to the graveyard. Deer Note can summon the ZeOmin back from the graveyard, and then Jam Drive can either dump or add a level 3 psychic. Okay? And then now you have Jam Dragon Drive in play and the ZeOmin back again. Now you have an 8 and a 3. What's 8 plus 3? 11. So you have a tuner and a non-tuner of 8 plus 3, and then that's 11, so you can summon the Punk Amazing Dragon just off that one interaction.
Okay. Strong.
Okay.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's all wild. All 3 of these decks are good. But
yeah,
it's up to you, Alan. Which one's the
brokenest?
is it which one of these decks has the most cards banned in it? Is it Vanquish Soul? Okay, you went over that. It's the swappy deck with the revealing cards in your hand and doing all those effects. Is it Zodiac with the basically Exceed spam and searching and toolboxing and popping cards with Zodiac Trident? Or is it Punk with the Xiamen level 8 synchro package that can end off on Punk Amazing Dragon?
I really thought it was the first one, the Vanquished Souls one at first, but seeing as you can get to this level 11 Amazing Dragon off of basically one monster, I think that the Punk Dragons has the most card spend. Though it's so tough because like I don't really like the Zodiac one, but I can see how that would bog down games with game actions and create something that's hard to interact with. But oh man, it's so tough. All three of them are so crazy, but it's
so how do you feel about Vanquish Soul after seeing the Punk deck and the Zodiac deck? What do you think of Vanquish Soul now?
It's less like it's a little clunkier because of the activated abilities. They're not all just triggers. They're not all just like happening like that. You have to reveal something to make it go instead of like discarding it. Like the revealing it doesn't necessarily give you more advantage, whereas putting something in your graveyard gives you more advantage, or putting something on the field or onto like XYZing it onto another card gives you more advantage. So both of the second two are activated through triggers or through like all of the things that trigger the activations are things which also give you more advantage. And like we said, the Zodiac keeps getting things that are bigger than the sum of its parts. Against my better judgment, I'm going to say Zodiac has the most banned thing. I think that's the one.
Okay, what do you think is the second best deck out of these?
Second best would be the no Punk.
Okay, and then the third best will be the Vanquish Soul.
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm hoping for a repeat of last time where I've just gotten all of them wrong. So
okay, this time it is a repeat. But in the opposite way, everything's right.
Oh, no way. Okay, all right, we got there. Hey. All right.
Let's go. Yeah, wow. You did really, really well. Say you parsed that the Zodiac deck had the most cards banned. And let me tell you, Zodiac is one of the best decks of all time.
I think all of them have Zodiac stuff. What really did it was, again, like more than the sum of its parts. Like I think like I was tempted to say the Neopunk stuff because it seemed like the way we look at CEDH decks where there's like a A-B combo or a one card win con. It seemed like that, like with Inala, all you need to do is cast Spellseeker once and you go up the chain and you win, right?
Exactly.
This seemed very similar. All you got to do is cast this Xiamen and you go up the chain and you win. But the instant speed stuff on the Zodiacs combined with I'm guessing there's other XYZ cards
There's
you could play in here.
Yeah.
So, like, the fact that there were so many of these pieces that you can put together made me think, like, oh, they would need to ban more of these to make the format, make the meta more fair. Like,
100%.
if you ban just one of these, you can still
do it.
You can still get there with all the other crap.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Just to let you know, Zodiac Ratpier, the first card we looked at, is banned.
Okay.
Because you can Zodiac Ratpier send a card, and then you can overlay with one of the Zodiacs, and then detach the Ratpier, summon another Ratpier from the deck, and then you can just keep going. You can summon the Broad Bowl, search for a card, summon Chakanine, bring the other card back, and if it's Thoroughblade, you can discard a card and draw a card. Just like I was saying before. The thing about that you got about Xiamen, that was like the one card combo thing. It's the same thing with Zodiac, but Zodiac is even better. All you need is any Zodiac monster in your whole deck can become the whole end board with the Chakanine and the Trident. So what you would do in this deck is you you would play like 12 Zodiac cards, and then the rest of your deck, the entire deck, is interactive cards. So since all you need, yeah, go ahead.
You know, I was going to say also the cost reduction, like it's broken on a fundamental level because you only need the one guy to do it.
Yes, it is fundamentally broken. Yes, that's what you literally hit the nail on the head right there, and I didn't even say that. It is fundamentally broken.
And it's like, I mean, I'm trying to think of a Magic, like it's like cards that have an activated ability with 0 cost that you can just do over and over again. It's that kind of like, or like Force of, like playing a free Force of Will, like when you could just play something for free. It's fundamentally breaks the rules that you should normally do, because all of them say you need 2 or more level 4 monsters, and then right under it says you only need 1. Actually.
yeah. The Zodiac archetype is just, well, actually the archetype.
Well, that's really cool. So, I'm glad I hit it on the head. Oh,
yeah,
the redemption arc.
Yeah,
I'm very excited right now.
So what you would do, and actually one of my friends, shout out to Bobby Kenny, by the way, actually broke this deck even further. And he added a combo in it where you would like go through your exceeds more than once in the same turn, and you would have a card that would help you go through that would let you draw additional cards. So you would draw like 2, 3, 4 extra cards in a turn, and all you needed was like 1 Zodiac for the fusion substitute way to do this. I'll put fusion substitute over here. Bobby Kenny broke the card, but that got Zodiac Rapier from this deck. Not specifically that, but Zodiac Rapier is banned. Zodiac Broadbull, the one that searches a Beast Warrior that can't be normal summoned, is also banned.
Yep.
Okay. And then Zodiac Trident is also banned.
Okay, so we got 3 banned cards.
So whether or has been banned at one point, right? So there's 3 cards, if not more, in this deck that have been banned at some point or limited at some point on the ban list.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of like you said, it's kind of hard to stop the whole chain. Like you have to ban more than one thing. And then with the No Punk deck, they actually did get one of the cards banned, which is the level 8 synchro that I didn't show you. That is like the broken mill 5, and you can summon it back out of your graveyard.
Okay, yep.
That card did eventually get banned, but none of the cards I showed you have gotten banned out of the Punk.
What about Vanquish? Any of the Vanquish cards?
Nope, none of the Vanquish Soul cards have been banned. Yeah.
Okay.
So I always just all these 3 decks are very interesting. They're all good, and they're all requested from the comments. So I wanted to give everyone a shot at. I wanted to give you the shot at giving the comment request decks, saying which deck was more broken than the last one. So anyway, thank you very much, Alan, for coming back on the show. And you were I think you are the 4th person ever to get everything 100% right. So congratulations on that.
Hey, let's go.
Okay, yep. If you watched up until this point, say give me a "let's go" in all capitals in the chat, in the comments. Please give me a "let's go" for Alan, the 4th person ever to get everything right. So thank you once again. Hopefully you can be on the show next time. Maybe in a month from now, I have some more slots available. Always a pleasure having you, Alan. You're one of my best friends in the Magic community. So super happy to have you on the show again. And I'll see you next time.
Big love. Thank you so much, James.
All right, guys. Peace.